Good morning and welcome to the Kristen Show. Today we're doing something different, like always. We're always doing something different, right? All right, let me preface this with saying that during work, I'm not allowed to be on my phone, but I brainstorm a lot. We're gonna be doing something sweet. This week at work, I was feeling like I wanted to give up dairy a little bit. So I've been researching a lot of like vegan recipes and things like that. I don't know why vegan, like meat's fine for me, eggs are fine for me. It's just like, I feel like I eat a lot of dairy, so I was trying to not eat so much dairy. A lot of recipes for vegan stuff use chickpeas, and Aquafaba is like a really good egg white substitute. And we all know that we make meringues here, already done meringues. I wanted to try to make French macarons with Aquafaba instead of egg white. I feel like it's a really good challenge. I've made French macarons before. They usually go pretty well. I wouldn't say that they're like professional quality or anything, but they're usually pretty good. I wanted to try that using Aquafaba, but I have another recipe that I'm going to be making that I'm going to be using white beans for. So I'm going to use the juice from white beans. And if you look up Aquafaba on the internet, it says that Aquafaba is the juice from cooking any type of beans. It doesn't have to be chickpeas or the garbanzo bean. It can be any kind of bean. I'm going to try to use the juice from these since I'm using these beans for something else anyway. And we're going to see if it works, if it doesn't work, and we will learn. It's all about learning, okay? If you don't know much about French macarons, they are basically whipped egg whites mixed with almond flour and powdered sugar, and you bake them into little rounds, and then you make a frosting or a filling, and you make a little sandwich cookie out of it. And what I'm going to be doing is a vanilla cookie and then a chocolate filling. And I'm going to make them vegan. Just because things are vegan though doesn't mean that they're healthy. This still has a ton of sugar in it. The first thing the recipe says to do is reduce your Aquafaba over the stove. The whole recipe is by weight, which I like because if you're just using a mixing bowl, you don't have to use like all these different measuring utensils. For this part, we are just cooking it over the stove, so we're just gonna measure the one thing. Okay, so we have to measure out 250 grams of Aquafaba. So it says you need roughly 2 cans, but I'm gonna see what it comes out. I have my little $7 food scale. If you have one of those, it's great. Nice investment. I'm putting my little pot over the scale so that it tears the weight of the scale. That way I'm not measuring the weight of that also. And I'm just gonna use my little can opener to pop some holes in my can. And we're just gonna measure out 250 grams. So 1 can of beans worth of Aquafaba came out to 136 grams. So it's like gonna be a little less than 2 cans. But we will pour it until we get to 250, right? 250 or 225? 250. And just so you know, it smells like beans. I don't know if these are gonna taste like beans or what. That'll be exciting to find out. And now we need to place this on the stove and reduce it to 110 grams. I have no idea how long that takes. The recipe doesn't say how long it takes. It just says pour Aquafaba into a pot and reduce over a low heat to 110 grams. Doesn't say how long, doesn't say what size it's gonna be or anything. I'm gonna just put it on there. I can kind of see where it is in the pot, and then I guess 110 is like over half reduced. So I'm just gonna pop it on the stove until it looks like it's barely anything. I'm nervous. Are you nervous? Because I'm nervous. So I'm gonna do that and I'll be right back. I just took that off the stove and I poured it into this bowl to measure it, to weigh it, and it reduced down to 126. It said to reduce it to 110 grams, but I got it down to 126. I feel like that's probably good enough. It smells like beans. I'm getting kind of nervous. I feel like I probably should have used chickpea Aquafaba, but we're still gonna make them. I don't care. We're just gonna do it. So the next step after reducing the Aquafaba is to cool it down. It says to refrigerate it overnight, or you can freeze it for about 15 minutes. I'm scared to put my dishes in the freezer when they're hot. This is a ceramic bowl that's made for like tea, but I'm still scared. I'm just gonna put it in the freezer for 15 minutes and I will be right back. All right, I've got my mixer ready. So the next step is to blend the Aquafaba or whip it until soft peaks form. It does still smell like beans, like I said, so I'm still nervous. It's really, really thick. It's like the consistency of egg white, so hopefully this works. I'm gonna whip that, and while that's whipping, I'm going to sift the powdered sugar and almond flour together. I think that's soft pea. Let's look at it. So I think we did it. Still smells a little like beans. I did put vanilla extract in there already. So it's like vanilla beans. Not vanilla beans, but vanilla flavored beans. It says to add the sugar and almond flour to this and then just fold it together, which is just like a soft stirring essentially. You want to try not to break the whip on the egg whites or bean juice. Once you have all of this mixed in, it's supposed to look soft and silky. I tasted it. It doesn't taste like beans. I mean, there's a lot of sugar in there, so it tastes like sugar. So the trick for filling piping bags is using a large cup. If you have piping bags, awesome. I got some disposable ones from Amazon, I think. Try to get all the air out of it. Put it in the cup and then open up bottom. And then we can add in this. And these ones aren't going to be as intricate as the meringues were. You know how they had that, I don't know if you watched that video or not, but you can go back to find it if you want to. Those ones had ridges on them. This batter is like a batter, it's liquid, so it'll settle. So we don't need to use a piping tip, we just need to cut off the tip of the bag. So if you have a Ziploc, that should work perfectly fine. Oh, I didn't even realize, you didn't tell me. Almost got it all in there. This is a very full bag. So very carefully find a pair of scissors and just cut like the littlest piece of tip off. And then it says you can use parchment paper on a baking sheet, but I'm just gonna use my old trusty silicone baking mat. And then you wanna try to make these all the same size. You're gonna be making the sandwich cookies. If they don't match, then it's gonna be a weird looking sandwich. All right, I am sticky as all heck. I got stuff all over my counter, just looking over the recipe, and there's 2 ingredients that it lists in the cookie part and didn't ask me to add. So it had castor sugar and red food coloring, and it never told me to put it in there, so they're not colored, which is fine. I don't know what the castor sugar's for, so that's just not gonna be in there. Hopefully it's not necessary. I'm gonna let them sit for 2 hours and it like forms a skin on top, and then we will put them in the oven at 250 degrees. So you don't need to preheat your oven yet. Hopefully you didn't do that. Right now we're gonna let them sit for 2 hours and I'll see you in a second. They've been sitting for an hour and they're all starting to touch each other. Like this is 11 cookies that are all touching. We have to bake them for 25 to 30 minutes, turn off the oven and leave the door closed for 15 minutes, and then open the door for 10 minutes, then take them out of the oven. All right, I'm back. I turned the oven off when they were done and then I fell asleep on the couch. So if I look different, that's right. So these are what they look like. They're a little extra crispy, I'd say, compared to regular macarons that I've had. Some of them cracked a little bit on the top. I don't know if that happened because I left them in there or if that just happened because it happened. All right, I'm ready. I got my little scale. We got our mixer and we got all of our ingredients. So this filling is also a vegan recipe. We're keeping it vegan all the way. It's 150 grams of chocolate. I actually don't know if this is vegan chocolate. It's baker's chocolate. So it's not milk chocolate, it's unsweetened 100% cacao. This says to use 70% cacao, so that's probably too much for us, but 119, ooh. Okay, I got some chocolate chip and I don't have a lot. All right, 150 grams. And we need 80 milliliters or 1/3 cup coconut milk. I like that it gives you both measurements. This is a go Russ. I got canned coconut milk because I've heard that that is better than the kind that comes in the carton. And I know that milliliters is a volume measurement, I believe anyway. But my scale has milliliters on it, so we're gonna measure the milliliters by weight. It says simmer it gently without stirring until the chocolate has melted. And I'm not gonna stir it. That seems weird, but all right. All right, I'm nervous. It gives a warning if your chocolate seizes. I hope it doesn't. And the next step after that is melted is to add maple syrup and amaretto liqueur. So I'm just gonna measure that out and have it ready because I like being prepared. So I need 45 milliliters of maple syrup. It doesn't seem like enough sweetness to me, but we're doing what we're told. I did use the extra bitter cocoa too, so. 30 to 45 milliliters of this fun stuff. I love amaretto. So that is ready to go. I don't know what See's chocolate looks like. I hope it's not this because I'm gonna use this anyway. I'm gonna add my maple syrup and Di Serono and whisk it up. I did add a little extra coconut milk because I felt like it wasn't behaving properly, but I don't know if that was because it was seething or something else. The recipe called it ganache, and in my experience, ganache is like a sauce. Hopefully this doesn't end up being too thin, but if it is, we'll dip the cookies. I don't know. So now that looks like ganache to me. It says to refrigerate it, so we'll do that. It smells really good, but I think that's the Di Serono. Let me taste. It's really bitter. I think I'm gonna put some of this sugar in it. Is it gonna ruin it? I don't know. It still looks okay. I feel like that could only help it become more like firm, like a frosting, right? All right, so I guess I'm gonna put this in the fridge and I will see you later tonight. I started these cookies at 10 o'clock this morning and it's 3 p.m. already. It's been 5 hours putting this in the fridge. I'll see you later. I just spent the last 10 minutes removing these from my 2 baking sheets. I don't feel like they are a complete failure. They are actually pretty good. They are all cracked. They did run together a lot more than I thought they would. We're gonna need another pastry bag. And it did firm up quite a bit, as you can see. I did take it out of the fridge probably about 5 minutes ago, so it has been sitting at room temperature for a little bit, not too long. I don't know at what temperature it gets really runny. I know that ganache does get runny, but I feel like you have to warm it up. I remember when I worked at that bakery, they used chocolate ganache as like a cake topping. Like you ice the cake and then you can put ganache on it and then it like runs down the sides. I'm sure you've seen that on a cake. You just didn't realize that what it was. So I'm just gonna use this wire rack to place the cookies on as I'm done. Take half of a cookie, pipe some chocolate on it. I definitely feel like I should have added more sugar to the chocolate. I hope you liked this recipe. It took me, it's 4:40 and I started this a little after 10. So it took me almost 7 hours to make these cookies for you. I hope you liked it. Anyway, if you liked this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up down below and don't forget to subscribe and I will see you next week. Thanks for watching. Bye. This is so weird. Those are not even close to the same size. Yeah, those two are touching a lot.